Can you say hi to the people? Say hello. Princess is here and says hello. Yeah, okay. There you go. Hi everyone, my name is Kay, and this is my Cave of Possibilities. I have yarny stuff to the left of me, cross-stitch stuff to the right of me, and here I am, stuck in the middle of you. Princess is with us. I tried to get her to say hello already. And Happy New Year to everybody. I hope your holidays were recharging, refilling, and very good for you. If not, hopefully you didn't come away with a new trauma. I know our leader-in-chief was doing his darndest to give us new traumas, but we may have survived. Anyway, hi, how are you doing? Doing very well. Caught up in the end of year-end closing, as one does when one is an accountant. Busy days, but it's good to be back. It's good to be back. I stitched a lot, as one does when you've taken a full week off for vacation. At about the third Saturday in a row, I told my mother that I could get used to being retired really quick because 3 days, sorry, cat in the tripod. If the camera wiggles, it's usually cat in the tripod. I could get used to retirement, but that's in 13 years. I don't know if I should start counting already, but 13 years to retirement, hopefully. So, shall we start looking at everything that I worked on? Why not? I forgot the backing board, so let's have a cut. I'll get it and be right back. Okay. So the first item that I have to show to you is my finish of the Nativity Quaker. This is from Primrose Cottage, and I know a lot of you have stitched it. I've seen so many of your finishes and little bits of work in progress on so many of your floss tubes. I managed to finish mine. I was nearly done with it the last time we spoke. And so, here it is. I really like the way it turned out. I stitched it with the called for flosses. I bought the pack of floss from Primrose Cottage, so that was super easy to get done. I stitched it 2 flosses over 2 on a 32 count linen. This is a mystery linen. I don't know what it is or where it came from. I dug it up in the random bits and bobs bin at Stitchery Express, and it is really nice, really soft. It was a joy to work with. Let's put that. We're going to have to reshuffle things as we go along. So that's that, and I also have notes because if I didn't write it down, it didn't happen. And I didn't write nearly enough stuff down, so lots of stuff that did happen didn't happen. Alright, so that's what I worked on. For December, I gave myself a break from the usual stitching, so I didn't stitch on Celtic Noel at all, Celtic Christmas at all, nor did I stitch on Colors of Water during December. Somewhere along the line I decided that I felt like stitching nativities, so I stitched a couple of them while we were on hiatus. So let's see, the next one is, I was working on this one. This is by Country Cottage Needleworks, and it is the Nativity. I won this 100 years ago from Priscilla and Chelsea, the real wives of cross stitch, like 100 years ago when they only had 500 subscribers. Can you remember those days? That was a long time ago. Anyway, I won this chart from them, and then it was calling my name, so I felt like giving it a start, and I finished it. So here we have the Nativity. I used the called for, I believe it was all DMCs on this one. Yep, I used the DMCs. This is also stitched two strands of floss over 2 linen threads. This is a 32 count fabric from Red Thicket. It is called Oblette, and it is a really soft light gray. And I think everything just turned out really quite lovely with this one. In case you are interested, and I know you are, Summer over at Red Thicket has decided to do a Fabric of the Month Club for 2026. Unfortunately, I had already decided on a Fabric of the Month Club to try on for size, and so my money was already committed, and I couldn't sign up for 2. So my heart is in it. I really wanted to do it, but if you want a chance at all of her beautiful, beautiful fabrics, go over to her website. I'll link it in the description box below, and sign up for it. Okay, so I was stitching on that during the Jingle Ball. I saw at the very last minute my brain is just stalled out. I saw at the last minute that Kathy Haberman had posted a Nativity pattern that she was going to be available through the Jingle Ball. So I said, well, I guess I'll do it. And so I kind of had, I don't know. I am not very successful at virtual retreats, be it knitting or cross stitch. They aren't my thing. They aren't really my gig, and I don't enjoy them. So I thought, well, I guess I'll go, blah, blah, blah. So I brought my Jingle Ball ticket for the first time, went through the shops and collected most of the freebies, and then I bought the Nativity scene from Tiny Modernist, and then the Nativity Gather Around the Manger, I think is the proper name of that one, from Hands On Design. I tried speed dating, but I don't know, my technology wasn't working properly and it kept timing out or something, I don't know. And then I really did try to get into a couple of chat rooms at the Chowdy Lounge, and because I love to listen to people as I stitch. I find people very interesting, and I like to listen to what they're talking about and what they're thinking about, and you know, just kind of what's going on. All the rooms I stumbled into are either empty or full, or you know, the pop-up would say this room is full, there's no more room, which was really sad because I would have loved to be in a full room just to listen to all the chatting. And so I know some of you had very excellent a time at the Jingle Ball and met lots of people, and I'm really proud of you, really pleased for you, but I don't think it's for me, and I kind of knew it wasn't for me going in. So there is that. So let's talk about the next couple of cross stitches. Kitty, you've got your hair all over everything. One of the Jingle Ball classes, which I just said I didn't sign up for any classes, so your guess is as good as mine as how I managed to borrow a copy of the pattern. But this is Mary Stitchmas, which was the class product pattern from Primrose Cottage. One of my good friends did go to the Jingle Ball, and she stitched the bag, and she was finishing stitching it when I saw her at a, maybe it was before the ball, and she was, no, it had to have been after the ball. It was after the ball. We met with the Little Script Stitch group, had a grand time, traded white elephant gifts. Anyway, that's 2 stories in one. Anyway, I asked if I could borrow the pattern from her when she was done stitching on the bag, and she said yes. And so I just stitched this, the Mary Stitchmas, on a little piece of 32 count. This is Silver Mist hand dyed by Stephanie. My mouth is just not cooperating with my brain today. Anyway, so I stitched that. That took maybe a day. It was such a sweet, easy stitch, and I'm really quite pleased with how it turned out. And I'll see friend here in another couple days, and I'll be able to give that one back to her. Let's see, where did I want to fit? I stacked up my projects over here. let's talk a little bit about the Christmas party with our cross stitchers, and we did a white elephant. And it was supposed to be a stash white elephant. And so I think I misunderstood the assignment, because I went through I got a little box and I went through my stash and I found about 3 pieces of fabric, some Aida, because there are some ladies there that only stitch Aida, and some linens, because there are some ladies who only stitch linens. I found some purples and a neutral and a couple of bits of this and that of fabric to throw in. And then I looked at all the things that I've bought over the past 3 or 4 years to take to retreats as table gifts, and usually I buy 10, but the table only needs 6 to 8, so you always have a couple left over. So I threw in 3 or 4, 3 needle minders, a little ort catcher, one of those thread beds. I had made one of those one time. I ransacked my floss box from way back in the beginning when Stitchy Box had their monthly subscription. I mean, this is like 2016, 2017 stuff. Found some Fiberlicious Yummy fibers in purple, red, and pink. So made a nice gradient there. Threw those in, and I guess I went crazy, but I threw in this and that. Oh, and a little tiny Lego set, because why not? Legos, fun. Anyway, it was stolen so many times. It was stolen as many times as it possibly could. And in the little box I pulled, let's see, I've folded most of the stuff in with my stash. And so in the box I pulled, I had one of these little journals that you can stitch a design on the front of. And it has some little flosses here. That's really crinkly. This is going to be really crinkly too. And a nice 14 count Aida opalescent. It is a beautiful, beautiful green. I can't read her writing. I don't know what this is called, but I do like the green. And it gives me an idea for something I want to do on linen that will need a green. So if I could make out what this is, I could possibly order it on a linen for an upcoming project way down the road. There was also a little decorative cow saying with one of those Highland coos on, and Christmas hat thing, Santa hat. Anyway, and a kit that had, you know, one of the feather trees with different stuff hanging off of it. Anyway, super cute. So that was really quite fun to pick up. All right, so the next thing, we'll get back to stitching, and I had not expected to. I didn't know this would be available. This is from Tiny Modernist. It is called Nativity Scene. And so I picked that up, and since it was PDF, I'm not a real fan of ordering charts PDF. I can't explain why. Maybe because in my entire career, way too many PDFs have gone missing, get lost in the ether of the internet, and they're just never found again. And I do a much better job of keeping track of my stuff when it is an actual physical pattern. Anyway, so I went ahead and started on the Tiny Modernist, and as you can see, I left off the big border and I left off the star. I wanted it to be a little more rectangular, but I didn't make that decision until I was well into stitching it, so I cut my piece of fabric large enough so I could stitch the border if I wanted to. This is another fabric from Red Thicket. This is, I believe it's Nevermore, and it is a delightfully dark, moody blue. And the colors used were DMCs, and I used all the called for DMCs. Once again, 2/2 on a 32 count. And so I think that turned out just right. It's so sweet. I think I'll take that in to get it framed, and maybe I'll use a fancy gold frame for fun. So that is that, and then here is the other, Gather Round the Manger. This is the hands-on design that I ordered and I had mailed to me because, like I say, I prefer a physical pattern to a, PDF pattern. Oh goodness, goodness gracious. Let's see, so I finished that one just right before, I think, yeah, right before Christmas Day. In that time, and of all the things I was stitching on, let's see, my knitting group, they had their little party, and I, like the cross stitch stuff, I just folded most of it into my stash, and so I don't even have it here to pull and show to you, except for two little things that happen to be sitting out, you know, for easy access. And so one of them is this cute little bag with all the ladies knitting with cats, like that. Cute, cute little dumpling bag. And then one of the other gals cross-stitched some bookmarks for us, and so, or crocheted some bookmarks for us. And so here's a little crochet chicken with super long legs to put in your book to act as your bookmark. She's ridiculously cute. And then the other thing that she crocheted, let's see, here is a teeny tiny cup with your cookie biscuit, so you can dunk your biscuit in your tea and just have a lovely time reading. Anyway, these were super, super duper cute. Cute, cute, cute. And there was, let's see, there was a little skein of yarn with some stitch markers, tea towels with our, personalized with our name, and a lovely phrase about being crafters. One of our ladies had compiled all of her family recipes into a cookbook, and she passed out the cookbook. And I actually read cookbooks. I think they're really, really interesting, and so I just had the best time reading her cookbook. I giggled at her commentary about this, that, and the other. She has a very witty, very dry sense of humor, and so that just fits perfectly with my sense of humor. It was very, very excellent. Although in a bit of a tease, I have to say that I read this a long time ago. I read science fiction, well, I read cookbooks like I read science fiction. I get to the end and I think, there's no way that'll ever happen. So there you have it. So that was the knitting group's party, and we had a lovely, lovely time. So after I finished the nativity scene, that was 3 on the year, and I figured, well, I guess I'm pretty much done with nativities because Christmas was all but over. And so I figured that I would work on Christmas by the Letter. This is a Lizzie Kate pattern. It's older than the Hills. It was released in 2009, which I guess is now older than the Hills. But anyway, I was in the middle of this S here on Snowfalls. I was halfway through getting the big block done in, so it was like half an S. And then, anyway, I thought, I bet if I really buckle down, I can get this thing done. Because on my loose goals for the break, I had written down, make some progress on this, and then I had listed several of the nativities. I did the tiny modernist nativity scene instead of the hands-on design gather around the manger, because it was a PDF, it arrived first, and so I was able to start it right away. Anyway, so in the last couple days after Christmas, and I finished this on January 2nd, so I didn't quite get it done in 2025, but certainly done within the holiday season. I finished all these S, T, M, C, T, M, A, A, S, and the fireplace. And so I just went to town on those. These are stitched with the called for fabrics, the called for flosses on a 32 count raw gold, sparkly fabric. So that's kind of the part that I have finished. And then here is, she's a tall mama jama, the whole thing. Merry Christmas. So there you go. One of my patterns didn't have the buttons that were called for in the pack. And so I was short 4 of the 16 buttons that I needed. So I ransacked my button collection and just sprinkled on the replacement buttons here, there. I kind of had looked at 1, 2, 3 Stitch to see if I could just buy the button pack, but it wasn't easily seeable where to purchase it without having to talk to somebody, and heaven forbid I actually have to talk to somebody. But anyway, so I ransacked my button collection, so I put on an extra heart there, was replaced. I did a heart button on the house. That was a replacement. Let's see. I had this little square button, so I did that over the eye instead. And then the exclamation point down here on Season of Joy is in another of my replacement buttons. So that was a big finish, and I'm really quite pleased to have it done. That pretty much is the last of the Lizzie Kates for me to do. So I've done Christmas by the Letter and the regular holiday one that is like cookies, milk, skates, icicles, that one. I have done Christmas by the Letter, I have done Jingles, and I have done the Christmas alphabet. So they're all on the same fabric. The other 4 are all in the same frame, so I'll get this framed in the same frame when I get around to it. And then that'll be that. So that is everything that I worked on. Well, there's still more. That is everything that I started and finished over the holidays. And then, of course, Primrose Cottage released their freebie for January, and it is this Sweetly Sane. So you can see that cute little pillow there. And I had not ordered, or really planned on ordering, the kit that they had to stitch this. Let's move this over here. And so I pulled out a piece of randomness. First, I checked my stash to see what I had. And I actually had some of the Really Tealy, which is what the light blue used. Their version of Really Tealy is very soft. Mine is intense. So I had that, and I had the green Eve's Leaves. So it looks like their green is a little more intense, and mine is much softer. These are old versions of the Classic Colorworks. They are actually Miss Crescent's Crown. No, Crescent Colors. So that is in the days before Classic Colorworks purchased the recipes for Crescent Colors when she decided she wanted to get out of the floss dyeing business. So there you go. And then I did not have the called for red or the called for pink, so I just substituted with what looked good out of my stash. The red is Ribbon Red, which Primrose used last year in their Valentine collection. And then the pink is Carrie Pink. So I use those, and it calls for a white. I had just finished a project that was using Leeks Dye Works whitewash, which was the Lizzie Kate was using that one. So I just threw that in there and used that to great effect. And that was the last thing I stitched on before I said, well, I guess we're back to stitching on our usual rotation of stuff, which means I did work on Colors of Water on Monday. So Monday is my Colors of Water day, and I am working on this square right here, right down here in the tan. And here is the cover page, and there's the designer, 3rd line down. They are German. I cannot pronounce that, so I'm just going to let you read it for a second. Anyway, I worked on that, and it was nice to see it again. Let's see, this is top. Lay it out here. Okay, so here we go. I am working on this block, I've almost got all the black done. The beige is done. And because Robin and I stitch with our top leg going opposite, I've had to rotate it 90 degrees. So then when it is hanging properly, the legs all cross the same. So this makes more sense to see as for the way I'm stitching it instead of looking at it this way. Anyway, I'm making good progress on that. I almost got the black done yesterday for that little part of the pattern, but I was kind of distracted and doing a little this and a little that and thinking of this and going over there and doing that and, you know, just futzing around a little bit, having fun, doing my own little thing. So that, let's move, here's the stack of stuff over here. I was going to tell you about the project bags, except, oh well, I kind of forgot. When I went up to the Cross Stitchers' little Christmas party, I had given this Mary 15 Biscornu to Candy to finish off, and she did a lovely job of it. I had sewn almost all of the blocks together except for 2 seams on one side, so that was the side to put all the polyfill in and then sew on the buttons and just go to town. She when she gave it back to me, she's like, yeah, I can see why that was a lot of work. That was kind of a trial to get all put together. I can see why you gave up on it. And I'm like, yeah, I did, I don't know, 15 blocks, lots of seams. I did most of them except for those 2 edges, and I was just like, I can't do it anymore. And so those were my Mary 15, all nice and done. Done, 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 done. Let's see. Like I mentioned, I joined those one people. They got to me far earlier than Summer did, so this is Color and Cotton. So they sent me a thing that said they were having a small purple themed mystery club. And so the first one is a lovely purple. It is Sugar Plum. Quite pretty. I think that will be a lot of fun. And then I went with the soft neutrals club for the year-long club because I do need some neutrals in my stash. So here is that. This is Palomino for the soft club. That showed up today. So that is, I decided to do a fabric club. Summer, I would have done yours if I had known sooner. That's all the cross-stitchy stuff, I think. I had fun. I enjoyed coming home and just settling into the Cave of Possibilities and just stitching my little heart away. I got some Legos. I don't often do Lego, but today is your lucky day. You get to see Lego. So they had this cute little gingerbread house. Da-da-da. Might have been named Santa's house or something. It's lovely. It's hinged, so you can swing it open. And then you have like 2 little shops right there next to each other. And inside is a wee house for Santa. So that was excellent, and that was fun to put together. Now every year Lego has been releasing a food truck design on January 1st, and I have the first 2, which is a hamburger truck and then a donut truck. I got the fry truck. Isn't it so cute? Anyway, I put together the fry truck. It's great. The little stand comes off the back of the truck, and then the roof comes off as well. There we go. The roof comes off so you can have easy access to the inside to move your little Lego person around. Yay, so cute. Anyway, I love those because I am a weirdo. There it goes. So there's the fry truck. I think I'm the only person who's a little bothered that, in the US at least, well, that's definitely a left-hand drive, but the window is on the left-hand side, so if the dude parks in the street, He's serving out of the left-hand side where all the traffic is whipping by. He should be serving out of the right-hand side, so I don't get hit. I could reverse engineer it and build this backwards, but I haven't thought about it yet. But anyway, fries! So that's that. That was fun. What else have we got going on? Work is work and work is working. It's year-end close, so we're busy as busy can be. Yeah. Is that anything? I swear I had stuff I wanted to talk about, and then I'd think about it, and then not write it down, because I said if it's not written down, then it doesn't get mentioned in the Flosstube. Well, I guess that's it. One last thing to note is Friend Brooke is hosting a Galentine's themed stitchy one-day retreat on February 21st. January 15th is your last day to register if you would like to go, and I believe you can see all the information there. If not, let me know. She said she had about 15 seats left to max it out. Her one she did right around Halloween time was it was great. Good party, great food, wonderful friends. I met new people. I talked to a lot of people. I don't know why an in-life retreat works so much better for me than a virtual retreat. They should be the same, but for some reason my brain does not think that they are. I can't explain it, guys. So anyway, if you're local or nearby, Utah, Idaho, maybe even coming in from Wyoming or Nevada, I suppose the people from Reno could be crazy and drive all the way across the state. Anyway, come on down. Come stitching with us. That's everything. That's everything. I had a wonderful break, especially the days I took off of work. Like I said, I could get used to this as a retirement thing. I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you didn't pick up any new traumas from the holiday season. I really hope you guys are able to find peace and happiness and hope in this world. I know it's hard to be the light that you want to see, but kindness costs you nothing, and it's really easy just to hopefully make the day go a little bit easier for the people around us, the people you will interact with every single day. Hugs and stitches, everybody. Bye! Addendum number 1, take 2, because I forgot to push the record button the first time around. Like I said, if it wasn't written down, I forgot about it, but I remembered some stuff. Amy J. from Switzerland was able to come over and see some of her family during the holidays, and I got to meet up with her and Sarah King, our Stitchy Kingdom, and Sarah Dockstetter, redneck bifocal stitcher. Lovely ladies. You should be watching their floss tubes. Anyway, we kind of met in the middle between Davis County and Utah County at a Needers and had dinner and stitched and chatted and stitched and had a really great time just hanging out with each other. I had managed to forget the floss for my project, so I showed up and had nothing to stitch, but Sarah King had a Mill Hill kit, a little pumpkin-y thing, so I started that for her and worked on that. We had a great time, talked, chatted, laughed, and slowly became aware that over here in the corner there were two couples sitting at a table, and one of the couples was doing the hard sales pitch of an MLM to the other couple. And so, you know, we, in our 50s, who care a little bit less about what other people think about us, we're over here going, MLMs are a scam, don't do it, run away, no is a full sentence. You know, false voice, how a false falsetto. Anyway, there's a fancy word for it. It exists, but it's not coming to tongue right now. Anyway, so at the very end, when we were all packing up and getting ready to go, Amy J., who's the bravest of us all, gathered some of the Swiss chocolate that she had brought with her, went over to their table, spilled it across the table, and said to the poor couple who had been there for about 3 hours now, suffering through the sales pitch and not quite figuring out how to tell their friends no, told them, MLMs are a scam, just say no, it's a full sentence, and then followed the rest of us out. So, if you have questions about MLMs being a scam, please look up Hannah Alonso. Actually, I'll link her channel below, and you can read all about some anti-MLM content. They push it on a lot of people as owning your own business, you know, being a girl boss, but you really aren't. Earlier this year, one of the big MLMs in the health space, Monat, collapsed and left all of their business girls just hanging on a limb. Their business was all of a sudden gone. You don't own the business, you're still working for someone, even when one of the main selling points for the MLM is you work for yourself. Woo! Anyway, go check out Hannah Alonso. She's fantastic. I really enjoy her essays for anti-MLM, and she's got a series of Influence or Insanity, which is kind of fun to watch too. So, end addendum 1. Now, addendum 2, recorded twice, because that's what we're doing. My aunt retired, and she learned to crochet, and for Christmas, she made almost everyone in the family a giant, wonderful, crocheted Afghan blanket. This thing is huge, you guys, and purple, and awesome, and I love it. Anyway, so this is an awesome thing. It's bigger than my bed, big for cuddling. If I want to sit here in my chair, have it over my lap, and either stitch a little bit or play one of my stupid games on my tablet. It's fabulous. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. So, there you go. Bye for now.